Welcome to Comfort Havoc number 2. So, I just came across some racist ass shit, and I just did a video about it. And I'm tired, man. I'm exceptionally tired of every time I turn around, I have to do a video about this because no one else is doing it. You know, this is not my claim to fame, okay? But I am going to have to say something about this because I'm sick and tired of making racist videos, and in my case, anti-racist videos. We as people need to understand. Alright. I was making a video about a Japanese girl living in Jamaica clapped back because the dude was talking about Japanese and Chinese spreading the coronavirus. And I sit there and I was like, okay, Margaret Cho came to our town once and she started talking about SARS, Severe Asian Racist Syndrome. Now here's the thing. Alright, no matter where the origin of a virus or an outbreak starts, you can't blame someone else who got sick and didn't know they were sick for the damn thing. I'm gonna put it to you in all honesty. Colds and shit are airborne, which is why they always tell you to wash your fucking hands. When you touch a doorknob, wash your hands. When you go to the bathroom, not only is there water and soap, but on your way out, in most places, there's a goddamn hand sanitizer thing right there. Perel is in the school I attend at PVCC, there's a Perel in every bathroom. I can't speak of the women's bathroom because I've never been in a women's bathroom since I was a kid. But for the most part, in the men's bathroom at PVCC, there's Perel as you come in, which means there's Perel as you go out. If you prefer soap and water, you use soap and water. But there's Perel right by the door on your way out. You know, when we sit here and decide, okay, like we did with SARS, we're going to blame every Asian person that SARS exists. Now, we can't blame every Asian person for SARS, and we can't blame every Asian person for coronavirus. We can't blame every Asian person for the flu. We can't blame anybody because of the color of their skin for diseases that we have, and that includes AIDS, herpes, and gonorrhea, and all the other diseases that come in that you just can't get rid of. We can only blame our inability to be cautious about where we go, what we touch, and who we sleep with. Alright? And that's just a fact. You know, you can't go around chunking Asian people because coronavirus started in China. So now you're going to hate all Chinese people because it's a possibility that they may have coronavirus. Excuse me. You can't hate every Asian person for SARS. SARS was a pandemic, and it may have started in Asia, but it blew through Canada, and some of it came to the United States, and it was just bad. And luckily, we had Margaret Cho to turn that shit into some humility and humorous stuff with Severe Asian Racist Syndrome. Alright? SARS. But where does it end? Alright? You know, Native Americans was practically disease-free before the Europeans came. When the Europeans and the Spaniards and the French came to America and conquered the northern and the southern hemisphere, which is why most of the tribes lost all their language because we were all indoctrinated into the Europeans, the French, and the others, the Spanishers, and the Greeks, and all the people who came to America and just said, yo, fuck y'all, we're taking over. You know, we started catching their diseases. Now, I said we because I am part Native American, and I collectively decided to just say we, so that, you know, if anybody's Native American looking at me, it's like, oh, you're one of us. Kinda. Just not pure blood. So, you know, you have to say these things. And my great-grandmother would once say, God rest your soul, Grandma Ada, that, you know, we didn't have anything to deal with outside of surviving the winter months and famine, you know. But other than that, we didn't have these diseases. We didn't have the flus. We didn't have colds and shit like that. We were fucking thriving before we got stupid and decided, hey, let's welcome these newcomers on board. And then newcomers just took everybody and said, okay, you're going to live on this small piece of land, and we're going to take everything from you, from this land to that land, and all of a sudden we got this song, this land is your land, this man is my land, from California to the New York Islands. But not if you are a Native American. The only thing you're going to live on is this hunk of dirt over here. And it's literally a hunk of dirt. You'll be lucky if you can cultivate corn. You have the ability to come and assimilate into a racist ass town in which you can live in with the rest of us, but we're not going to pay you what we're going to pay them. We're not going to give you what we're going to give them. And hell, we even have these other new people coming in from Africa who were sold out by their people, and they're called slaves. Oh, even better, we have white people coming from the European countries, and they're called indentured servants, and they have to serve us for 15 to 20 years to earn their fucking freedom. Which they still really didn't get even when the emancipation approximation, which I totally said wrong, emancipation approximation came through. So for all you people who don't know shit about history, let me explain this to you one more time. Even blacks had black slaves. Whites had black slaves. Even Native Americans had slaves. They were Native American slaves, but they still had slaves. There is not a nation on this planet that did not have slaves at some point in their history. Now, whether they want to admit that shit to you or not, whole nother ballgame. But that does not change the fact that everyone has had slaves. The fact that you don't know if you came from a slave or not is bewildering. Alright? Now, granted, most of those rich people who came to America and struck gold probably didn't come from slaves. Or if they came from slaves, they're not going to have that checked down in their family history. They're just going to X that out. That never happened. You know? And I'm multicultural. I know we came from some slaves because we're part black and we're part Native American. The Native Americans in our family could have been slaves. We don't know because we weren't there. But the point of the matter is, slavery is a really bad stain in human history, period. And without being a hypocrite, in some cases it was a necessary evil. You know what I'm saying? It's just the truth. It wasn't necessary evil because some people was just fucking lazy and didn't want to work. Why work when we can make people who can't fight back work? No, that's pretty much what slavery was. If you were a slave in Egyptians' times, when the Egyptians made these guys build these goddamn temples, you know, slaves did that shit. Royalty didn't do that shit. Slaves did that shit. Slaves and engineers. Oh, you're a pretty smart person. Oh, we're going to make you an engineer. We're going to make you design this temple. You're not going to have to work, but you're going to have to supervise. You're going to be there every day in the hot, hot sun, making sure all these slaves do their thing. Overseer. You're a slave to me, so you're going to whip their asses if they don't do what I say. You're going to crack that whip on that guy, and if that engineer steps out of line, you crack that whip on that son bitch too. We need to understand one thing. Racism is a part of life. Slavery was a bad stain on the universe. And finally, stop being racist, people. Come on. No. Just because someone looks Asian doesn't mean they have the coronavirus. So when you see somebody Asian and you're going around, let's see if I can do this. An Asian entered the room. Oh no. Really? One, I don't call that fair. Two, you know, I'm an Asian. I'm walking into your room, so now you're flapping on a mask. How do you think that makes people feel? You know, especially if they hadn't even been to China. Hell, when they might not even be Chinese. And we're going around saying, these Asians are infecting us with the coronavirus. Well, that's just like saying that racism is not a thing. That was a racist statement that was made on this damn thing by Jamaicans. Shame to say that I know a few Jamaicans that aren't racist, but I don't know why that person would like point that shit out. But you know, a lot of people think maybe it's not gonna get that far. Maybe it's not gonna spread like wildfire, and maybe I'm not going to insult people's feelings. And maybe because we're idiots, we don't know how to tell Chinese and Japanese apart. We also are too chicken shit to ask them. I'll be the first to tell you, the only way I can really tell Asians apart is by last names. And I'm not always right there. You know, Japanese last names are just as hard to figure out as Chinese last names. And Vietnamese and Korean last names are off the fucking chain. Stop being racist. Be human. Catch yourself before you let it fly out your mouth. You know, think before you speak. Coronavirus is a serious thing. But I don't think that anybody should go around just blaming all of fucking Asia because of it. And don't say, oh, you just because you look like them, you're gonna side with them. Okay, Native Americans are Asian. They were the first Asians to come over here and just dominate the whole goddamn landscape and have all kinds of traditions and totem poles and fire dances and rain dances and all kinds of other shit. And I am a descendant of them. But I am not a racist. I don't have a racial bias. I think that everyone should not be racist and should look beyond the skin to the soul within. Here's the thing, alright, and I'm going to end this on this. If you peel everyone's skin off, we all look exactly the same underneath. We all feel the same. We don't all think the same. And that's the difference maker. But we all, if you peeled all my skin off and you got rid of all this high yellow and brown and you could not see what my eyes are shaped like, or you couldn't see my thick forehead and my thick ass eyebrows, and all of this was gone. And all you seen was muscle tissue. And if everybody looked exactly like that, we'd probably all die off, because that's just nasty. You wouldn't be able to find our penises. No, let's keep that shit real. I mean, you skin all the muscle tissue off there. Yeah, you won't be able to find our penises. Wouldn't be able to find vaginas, so we'd probably all die off because we couldn't mate. So, what is the malfunction? Why do we have to be racist and stereotypical? I'm James Williams Jr. Please think before you speak. I'm guilty of that too, but not when it comes to race-based shit. Or gender-based shit. Or LBGTQMXYZ alphabet squad shit. Come on, people. Let's get our shit together.